Gavin, thank you very much indeed. Gavin Esler there in Isla. The UKIP leader, Nigel Farage, says if his party wins the Clacton by-election, he expects more defections from both the Conservatives and Labour. He was speaking as he joined the town's MP, Douglas Carswell, on a constituency walkabout. A day, of course, after Mr Carswell's defection to UKIP from the Conservatives. Well, we can speak now to Roger Lord, who told BBC Essex yesterday that he was originally selected as the UKIP candidate for Clacton at the general election, and that he will fight Douglas Carswell for the right to represent the party. He's therefore is in Clacton now. Good morning.
Oh, hi there.
Good morning. Are you still of that view?
Here, but it's still very nice. Sorry?
Are you still determined to fight Douglas Carswell to be the UKIP candidate?
Well, I'm 200 yards away from Douglas Carswell. I think he's in town. He could come down and meet me and say hello, but I think it's a pretty gutless situation when he can't even meet me and can't even say hello to me. And I think Clacton needs a fighter, and I'm fighting my corner, and I'm going to go down fighting because this constituency we're standing in has got 54% unemployment rate. We've got one of the most deprived postcodes in Britain. Those electors, those voters want a fighter. Douglas Carswell's not a fighter because he hasn't got the guts to come down the road and meet me here and say sorry for what he's done or anything else. He can still stand down. The fight isn't over until that name goes on the nomination paper.
Can I ask you briefly, and time is tight sadly, but can I ask you briefly what your message to your leader Nigel Farage is amidst all this?
Well, I've known Nigel since 1997. I've supported him all that way. I think he's got a debt of honour to me, and that goes for every other candidate and activist in Britain, and the 40,000 members that we've gained over these years. And I would fail as a politician if I just rolled over and said, oh, thank you, I'm going to do this, do that. No, this is my hometown. I went to school here. I know every inch of this coastline along here. You know, why should somebody else come in? And I've done the hard work. I've put in some money, spent a lot of time, and over the years, you know, Douglas Carswell, he's in a sinking ship. The water's up to his knees. I told him that he was going to lose next May. 3 weeks ago, I was selected as a candidate. He could have rung me up before then. He could have done all sorts of things, but he didn't.
Right, OK, but do you accept now, though, that things have clearly changed and that your party leader is clearly now of a mind to back Douglas Carswell to fight this by-election for UKIP?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that over the wind.
Your leader clearly wants Douglas Carswell now to fight this seat for UKIP, doesn't he?
Well, he welcomed Douglas Carswell to the party and welcomed a by-election.
OK, I'm afraid time is beating us, Mr Lord. I do appreciate your time and apologies for that. We must now say farewell to viewers to BBC Two. In the meantime, Roger Lord, I can come back to you if you're still there. I realise that was a slightly staccato moment. Come back on that point I just made to you about what your leader is saying. He clearly wants Douglas Carswell to fight this seat now for UKIP, does he not?
Sorry,
are you still hearing me, Mr Lord?
So, yeah, it's very windy down here.
Yes, I
appreciate in my ears. Like.
I appreciate you're battling with the seaside weather conditions. A word about what your leader now wants. It is surely clear to you now that Mr Farage wants Mr Carswell to fight this seat for UKIP in the by-election.
Well, Nigel Farage has known me a lot longer than he's known Douglas Carswell. So he's got to ask himself this question. Does he trust my character, or does he trust somebody who's only just met? Yeah, I know this seat inside out. I can give it a fair shot, just the same as anybody else. And why shouldn't the little guy have a go once in a while? Doesn't mean to say Carswell's any cleverer, any tougher. He's certainly not tougher because he's not prepared to meet me. So I'm prepared to debate him in public. And I know damn well I can debate him down. I can beat him. And that's what the job I was set to do 3 weeks ago when I was selected as a candidate. Go out and beat Carswell. I've beaten Carswell because I've recruited key members of his campaign team, and they do not want me to stand down. And I've got a former Liberal councillor pleading with me to fight all the way and not to give him ground.
Right.
And I would betray all those people I've persuaded to join me on my campaign team at this moment in time.
OK, I hear your determination, and then we see the pictures of Mr Farage and Mr Carswell today, clearly in a very upbeat mood. How is this going to be resolved?
Yeah. Well, Douglas Carswell can do the decent thing, can't he? He can come and say hello to me, he can meet me, he can negotiate with me. But he hasn't got the guts to do that. He's 200 yards up the road from me. I've asked him through other people, say, come on down, let's have a discussion about it.
Yes.
But he won't. If he hasn't got the guts to face me, then he hasn't got the guts to take on the establishment, he hasn't got the guts to take on Europe.
OK, let's say, for sake of argument, Mr Carswell is definitely confirmed as being the UKIP candidate in this by-election. Are you going to stand against him as some sort of independent?
No, I'm not going to stand as an independent. I want to stand with a properly constituted political party.
But if Mr Farage says no, it's Douglas Carswell's job, what do you do?
Well, unfortunately, Mr Carswell's created a vacancy. And who knows what might happen.
Look at it, though.
He hasn't thought it through. Douglas Carswell hasn't thought it through.
OK.
He's created a vacancy.
Well, let me put this point to you
about you better think about that.
About the political climate we're now in, because clearly Nigel Farage sees what's happened in Clacton in the last 24 hours as a fantastic opportunity from his point of view to get a UKIP MP in Westminster. And he wants that man to be Douglas Carswell, and he thinks you're getting in the way.
It is a fantastic opportunity. Clacton needs the publicity. We welcome the publicity. All the journalists and people coming down to help will boost this economy. Every pound spent in Clacton will benefit Clacton. We need that publicity. That's great. I welcome a by-election, but it doesn't mean to say Douglas Carswell is the be-all and end-all. Other people have spent years and years and years fighting the same battles. He's coming in at a latecomer. He could have joined us years ago. He didn't. It's the last 5 minutes when all the work is done. We were on the cusp of winning this seat. He knew it. He was on a sinking ship. He abandoned ship before knowing his ship would sink.
OK, but sometimes, Mr Lord, politics is a very unfair game.
It is, and I might just be a little bit unfair to Douglas Carswell.
Well, we shall see how this all resolves itself in the coming days. It's been very good to talk to you, and apologies for interrupting midway through, but there were reasons I had to do that, but I appreciate your patience. Roger Lord there, clearly determined that he is going to be the UKIP candidate in Clacton, at least at this stage. This is BBC News with me, Julian Worricker. Time to bring you up to date with our headlines.